This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
And welcome to the program. I'm Roby Brock. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Talk Business and Politics Daily. Today, we will visit with House Minority Leader, Representative Tippi McCullough, Democrat of Little Rock, about her party's agenda in this next 94th General Assembly. We'll also take a look at what's coming up on this weekend's television programs, both Capitol View and Talk Business and Politics. And we'll sum up the day's activities from the Arkansas legislature. This and more coming up next on Talk Business and Politics Daily. Talk Business and Politics Daily is brought to you by Wright Lindsay Jennings Law Firm, Impact Management Group, and these sponsors.
We proudly deliver reliable, affordable, responsible power across Arkansas. But demand for electricity is strained by the elimination of sources we need for always-on reliability. And adding intermittents like wind and solar cannot replace workhorses like coal and natural gas that we all count on. Power must be balanced for your needs and our mission. Reliable, affordable, responsible. We're the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas.
Connection. It's the heart of what we do. It's why we work to better the communities where we live and work. It's why we're expanding to get people connected and create digital equity programs that support affordable internet and digital literacy. We're leaders for positive change. From the way we empower our people, clients, and communities to the way we care for our planet. We live our values every day. We're Cox Communications, and we're pleased to connect with you.
Together we can create an Arkansas that places children and families at the very top of the agenda.
We can create the type of Arkansas that we have always imagined.
Arkansas Advocates as an organization is the glue that can put all those families' voices together.
Welcome back to the program. Joining me now, Representative Tippi McCullough, Democrat of Little Rock. She is the House Minority Leader. It is always good to catch up with her. Representative McCullough, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Roby. Glad to be here.
All right, let's begin with the news of the day. This Thursday, Senate Bill 43, which would require, I guess it would regulate drag shows as adult entertainment businesses, got a lot of fanfare on the other end of the Capitol today. It would appear that we're going to pick up where we left off in the last session with some of these culture wars. I just kind of want to get a word from you as to how you think this is going to play out. Supporters say that they're protecting children. What are they protecting children from?
Well, I don't believe that's the case, first of all. We are starting out, I think, even quicker in this session than we did last session with these culture wars. And there are so many more needs in Arkansas that we need to be working on and fulfilling as far as education, public safety, health care. There are so many things that we need to be doing, yet we are focusing on a very small minority of people who throughout history have done performances. These bills, I mean, they say what they say. I don't believe drag queen performances are going to be ended. There's a strong history in the LGBTQ community of drag queens often standing up, such as at the Stonewall demonstrations in New York City, where they have stood up and fought back and furthered LGBTQ rights from that point on. So I believe it's an attack on a really small minority that doesn't have anything to do with the work we should be doing here in Arkansas.
All right, I want to get to some Democratic legislative priorities on some of the big issues, but one of the things that you all rolled out about a week ago when you and Senator Greg Leding held a press conference to talk about the Democratic agenda in this session. One of the things is decriminalizing marijuana and expunging nonviolent possession charges. Tell me what you want to see done on that, and are you finding some consensus among your GOP colleagues on that?
Yeah, I don't know that we have rolled that out enough to know if we have any kinds of consensus. I know there are some conversations that are ongoing. I believe that's just part of what our plan will be for public safety. It's got to be multi-tiered. We don't believe that building prisons over and over, spending hundreds of millions of dollars. We don't believe that that's the only solution. We believe that there's needs to be a multi-tiered solution. And from our perspective, that would just be one part of it, especially to try to decriminalize these really low-level drug offenses.
We don't really know how many people are in prison today because of just the low-level offenses. I mean, I've tried to get that data, and I've quite frankly had a difficult time getting my hands on it. So do you have that data?
I don't have that number. We need to, depending on who you talk to, you hear some different numbers, but we need to try to figure out exactly what that number is. I know it's in flux to a certain extent, probably all the time, but we're bound to be able to get kind of an average number.
All right, on criminal justice reform overall, you mentioned the construction of prisons. There's a lot of talk about doing some sort of rehabilitation to teach work skills, improve education for those coming out of prison. Obviously, longer sentences is going to be part of what's going to be debated on this. What do you expect to happen on criminal justice reform, and what do you want to happen on criminal justice reform? And are those the same thing?
Right. Well, it's really hard. We're hearing lots of things. Same with education, same with public safety. We don't have a bill to look at yet, but from what we hear, when we do, it's going to be maybe hundreds of pages long. So surely there's more included in there than just building new prisons. I don't think it would take that many pages probably to do that. So, you hate to criticize too early. I think there might be, as in education, there's some things that we could support, I'm sure. We do believe violent offenders should be kept off the street. We also believe, though, that that's not the only solution for rising crime and to cut our recidivism rate. And I just, we're against putting all of these things in these big bills that include everything. And because there are lots of things we might be able to agree on and work together on and collaborate on, but when you put everything together and we can't support everything, it really causes a division.
All right, so we could apply this same, I guess, principle that you're outlining to education reform. We're expecting an omnibus education bill that will have everything in it, from teacher pay raises to maybe more money or more programs in pre-kindergarten, reading literacy programs, all things that I think you would be very supportive of, at least in philosophically. There will also be the school choice option that's going to be rolled into that omnibus bill. I suspect I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm going to assume that you're going to be opposed to school choice. What's going to prevent you from supporting an omnibus bill despite the other things that may be good in it that you want to see happen?
It will just depend. I don't know. Numbers wise, we may need some more prison beds. We know our counties are overcrowded and everything. It's just back to the same thing. There's so many things we can do, whether it's courts like domestic violence courts, or whether it's, expanded drug courts. There's so many different things that we can do regarding that. And like I said, decriminalizing the low-level drug offenses so we can get officers on the street doing the really important, dangerous work that comes with the violent crimes instead of the things that keep them often so busy. And so there may be, once again, I think there will be things in there that we support. Maybe we can support the entire bill. We just, until we have something to look at, we just don't know. We're continuing to have conversations. We hope to try to influence and, also put our bold vision out there of what we want to do, but it just still remains to be seen.
All right, riddle me this, budget Batman. Okay, so school choice, more pre-K, more reading literacy. That's going to take up tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in new spending. Prison construction and operations and longer sentences is going to take up hundreds of millions of dollars in new spending. And Republican leadership wants to cut taxes as well. Is there any preliminary numbers floating around out there about what this is going to do to the budget? I mean, I've been around the block a few times. The math is not adding up.
No, we've seen no responsible plan to do that, especially if the plan is to take the tax rate down to zero. We just, like I said before, we have so many needs. And when you start, like you said, doing the math with all of these things and with some of them really things that are needed and things that we should be spending money on, but it doesn't add up to continue to cut those taxes in a responsible way. I mean, if somebody can show us a responsible plan, that's one thing. Once again, we haven't seen that yet.
All right, she is House Minority Leader, Representative Tippi McCullough, Democrat of Little Rock. Always good to get your perspective. Thank you so much. I have a feeling we'll have a few more conversations before this session ends.
Thank you, Roby. I appreciate you.
All right, we're back with a preview of this weekend's TV shows, Capitol View and Talk Business and Politics right after this. Talk Business and Politics Daily is brought to you by Wright Lindsay Jennings Law Firm, Capital Advisors Group, and these sponsors.
One of the things that I really liked about UAMS College of Health Professions is that they set me up for success. I chose UAMS because I felt like it was a great place to work. My grandmother was diagnosed at UAMS for multiple myeloma, and I felt like it would be a great way to pay back the place that helped my grandmother so much. And that's why I went in the healthcare field in the first place, is to help someone just like they've helped my grandmother.
For your education and healthcare needs, choose UAMS.
This is what we work for. The moments you live for. The joy. The heart. The wonder. At Entergy, we're dedicated to powering each moment. Today and for future generations. So we're leading the way with a cleaner, more reliable power grid to power every day. Because these moments matter. We power life. Entergy.
So what can you expect from this weekend's two television programs that I host? Number one, Capitol View. We will have Attorney General Tim Griffin joining us. We'll talk about what's happening with criminal justice reform in the state of Arkansas. We've not seen that big omnibus bill yet, but he is working behind the scenes with Governor Sarah Sanders and legislators on that. We'll also talk with Representative Jamie Scott, Democrat of North Little Rock, Representative Aaron Pilkington, Republican of Clarksville. The two of them have formed what's called the Future Caucus, and they also work on some bipartisan issues together. We'll find out where they find common ground and where they find some disagreements. And on Talk Business this weekend, we'll not only have our interview with Attorney General Tim Griffin, but we'll also be joined by Rex Nelson, Senior Editor of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. You can find those local listings on our website or follow me at Roby Brock on Twitter, and we'll put that information out for you to find. Thank you for watching today's program. I'm Roby Brock. We will see you next time.